All right, Mike's live.
Okay.
And
Well, hello world. This is we are at ILTACON 2025. My name is Kenny Leckie. I'm a senior consultant at Traveling Coaches, and I'm here with my esteemed colleague Carolyn Humphreys, who is also a senior consultant. Say hello, Carolyn.
Hey, welcome everyone. Good to see you all.
All right, so this is this is not our first conference, ILTACON conference, but it has been an exciting one. So we're watching trends. We're going to talk a little bit about some of those things topically and otherwise, but I got to tell you, there's an air of optimism here. It was a little weightier last year with the introduction of artificial intelligence. We'll talk more about that, but really it's becoming more normalized, and we'll talk about how that evolution, I've heard it referred to both as an evolution, a revolution, so many different ways to refer to what's going on here. So I just want to tee up a few things. You know what I like about, first of all, you, Traveling Coaches, and the kind of people we bring. We've been at this for a while, but the thing that I think really sets you apart and our mindset apart is that we are still curious, and we are still wanting to know how to take this amazing stuff and put it, package it, assist our clients to be the best they can be. And I just love that about what we do.
Yeah,
so here's here's some of the topics. We can't start without AI. Okay. And I tell you what, people walk around with saying AI with both a distasteful
so
it's like true. AI. I don't want to think about that
oh my
anymore.
Gosh, like another session on AI.
Again.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
To the point where some people were saying, come to our session, we're not talking about AI at all. And it was like a draw. But you know, it's one of those. It's the elephant in the room is that we can't ignore it. And so there's been some very interesting things. You had a great session about AI and really addressing that. But it takes it from the concept of it, which is very daunting, to the practical application of it, which is very interesting. What would you say were some of the key takeaways from your session alone? Just prepping for the session, delivering the session, and conversations around the topic.
Absolutely. You know, what's interesting is that so many clients that we're talking about, so many people and firms that we're talking to, everyone's in a different stage of their journey. You see that when they ask the question, you know, who's rolled out, you know, AI at your firm, who's rolled out Copilot. You're seeing so many hands being raised in the room. But what's even more interesting, I think, is the many conversations that we've had with clients where for quite a while, for the last, you know, year, 18 months, their firms have been saying, no, we're not going to do AI. And then all of a sudden that partner walks into the room and says, oh my gosh, we need this now. You know, so we're getting calls from firms and from clients that are like, we want to roll this out next week. Let's start, like, we've got to be doing this now. And that's exciting, but also they're kind of missing out on that change management and adoption opportunity that's so important, right? Preparing your data in advance, or thinking through your AI policies, thinking through your general counsel guidelines. Sometimes they're in such a rush that they haven't quite put all their ducks in a row. And so yeah, there was one firm we were doing a project with, and this was exactly the situation where they were in a rush, and then we're in the middle of Copilot deployment, and they realized, oh my gosh, our outside counsel guidelines. And so
forgot all about those.
I forgot all about that. And so, you know, they weren't able to train everyone, even though they were offering training for everyone across the firm. Only a small portion of those individuals, like 20-30% of the individuals, had permission from their clients to use AI on their projects. So all of a sudden it's like, no, it's a not yet for them until we get these outside counsel guidelines, you know, sorted out. So it's those types of conversations. You know, even rolling out Copilot, you'd think that it would be a very one size fits all kind of situation, and it's not.
It's not.
There are firms that choose different settings, different options, and that takes thought, that takes, you know, just really an understanding of where they're at, what are their retention policies. You know, because when you're talking about something like Copilot, your chat retention policies, your meeting video retention policies. Are they going to blown away immediately at the end of a meeting? Do they have 10 days? Do they have 30 days? Do they have forever?
So let me tie
to
that
reference
together.
that? So there's work.
One of the first sessions I saw, and there is work.
Yeah.
But it was a CIO referring to really the prep to start embracing the fact that we can't ignore generative AI as being part of the normalized part of our application mix in the days ahead and our overall workflow. And not only the firm, the practice of law, but the business of law, and really aligning those two things together. But the thing I thought was really cool is start with the things that you're going to bump up into regardless. Look at know what data you have. Look at your information governance policies. Make sure things align not only with the obligations we have to make sure that our clients agree with the tools we use to provide the service for them and they're comfortable with it. That just goes back to our ethical responsibilities, but also to make sure it complies with your security measures. You do that work first, and then it just gives you a chance to just look. You've measured all these things. You've already vetted the variety of solutions, and then you can start applying them. And then the next response, if you do your homework, then it's start small. Have some fun with this. Get this in the hands of your professionals. Have them do the things that are just menial. So the evolution of AI function has gone from early on, we were talking about the different models. Then we were essentially using it as an assistant or a really impressive little intern that can do some stuff for us.
Right.
But that's part of the evolution/revolution. And now it's getting to the point of it can do certain functions for us. Can we embrace that in a way that we handle the security and the compliance, the requirement side, but still start to liberate people to start having fun at what they do and improving and just becoming the supercharged lawyer and law firm team that can produce these things quickly. The other thing is changing it is that our clients are requiring it. So if you say no too long, one, you become irrelevant. Two, the clients are going to push you to say yes. And if you're not prepared to say yes, then that's where things go. So now's the time to just keep going. Keep the work going.
And you bring up a good point about clients. Your clients are all climbing the same AI mountain. They're already talking about within their organizations, how are we rolling out AI? Because this is in every single industry. There's no getting away from AI. And Microsoft is making it so easy for you to get to Copilot, right? So when you log into your Office Online account, boom, there it is. Whether or not you have a license, there is chat for web right there. Microsoft's making it super easy.
Wow.
Hard to say
You're
no.
not just getting
Hard to say no.
Copilot.
Yeah.
Copilot's getting to you.
And
I mean, the push of this in accessibility in your apps and the change and it's immediately somewhere else.
And when we're talking about that security conversation,
right?
That is number one important. Over 75% of people are bringing their own AI to work. So if the firm is not
BYOAI,
I know that's a mouthful.
That's good.
And so if the firm is not providing the tools, the people are going to provide their own tools because they're worried. They've got FOMO. Right? And they're worried about not keeping up with technology and what's new. And frankly, I think this goes into employee engagement as well, that if your firm is not pushing out those new technologies, people may choose to go somewhere else to an organization that is providing those technologies. So, the FOMO is real. But we also have to make sure people are working securely.
So they're bringing their own. We have in the security realms always referred to that as shadow IT. Now we have shadow AI.
And they don't understand the difference between public, private, and enterprise grade. They may not know, right? Is this training a large language model? What does responsible use look like? They need those guidelines because it's new for everybody. I'm amazed at how many people I meet that have never touched an AI tool at all.
They know of.
And they may not even know where to get started.
Sure.
So when you're staring at that prompt field for the very first time, sometimes the question I get is, well, what do I type in? And it's absolutely endless what one might type in a prompt field. And there is no magic prompt, right? There's no magic bullet
No.
that gets you from A to Z.
So
It's
the skill
learning how
set
to
needed
talk.
to prompt, and again, prompt engineering, I don't like the phrasing because it implies you have to elevate a skill. What we're trying to do is reduce the skill and just get it conversational.
Yeah.
Because the difference between a search and a prompt,
Mhm.
using just a search engine versus an interaction with an artificial
Yeah.
intelligence model, is just the ability to converse and iterate and get it down to what you want. But I want to bring back something else you said. People are bringing their own AI.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something else that's happening. It was interesting discussion, the G100, G200 summary session, the keynote that just happened a few minutes ago, was that if we're not ready for this, our clients now, this is a change. And this is another reason why lawyers that have said no before are now coming around saying, oh, we got to get on this and we got to get moving.
Yes.
Is the fact that their clients are now calling saying, this is what I researched and found and used AI to discover. What's your opinion on this? So
Yeah.
as opposed to me just them reaching out to lawyers saying, I want your expert opinion, they're saying, I've found this expert, I believe, information. What do you say about it? And we need to be ready to use those tools, use them well, to turn around and continue to provide really good responses. So the drive to use it is coming from the fact that people have it in the palm of their hand. It's available to them everywhere. And whether they're using it responsibly and safely, we need to work through that. But it's coming from our own people and it's coming from our clients.
It's coming from our clients.
And it's an important discussion.
Yeah, I mean, some clients are going to be very pro. Yes, absolutely use AI. You better be using AI. And other clients may be, ooh, I'm not comfortable with that yet. So our clients have just as much, again, they're going through the exact same struggles with AI as every single, law firm and organization in this world. Where does it fit? And I love doing things like innovation labs, talking to firms about, well, what is your workflow? When you think about a prompt, and the purpose of prompt serves, it's your personal assistant. So it's really a personalized journey of how you might use that tool at the end of the day. And oftentimes we have IT groups that are looking into Copilot, and they might say, oh yeah, we have 15 licenses, we're taking a look at it, but we're not really seeing the use case. And part of that is because the IT group, they don't know those moments in a person's day where they're staring at a blank screen or they're stuck in something and they need that little brainstorm. They need that little, help me get that ugly first draft onto paper.
If you want me to adopt a thing, make it relevant to me. And until we can converse and switch that dialogue to where you lawyer this, you partner this, all with different levels of interaction and responsibility for representing the clients and the firm, make it relevant to me. And we've got to get better at turning that conversation around. Not only the ethical, responsible, we do all that work first, but now here's how you can effectively use that stuff.
And, Kenny, one of the things that you have said over many years is people support what they help to build. And so this is really one of those tools that the more community is around it, the more that we're engaging with our learners and our end users, our people, to help build out those use cases, to really unveil what it is that we want to be doing with these tools, whether we're talking Copilot, a homegrown tool. Lega has an amazing tool. The File Vines, the Harveys, the Laurels. There's so many great products out there. Having those individuals that are subject matter experts in their field, in that work, we need their help in building out those use cases. So find your champions, identify who those curious people are that are just going to pound it, right, and really work towards refining that prompt. Boy, those people are gold within an organization.
Of course, we could talk AI all day. Just to kind of wrap put a wrapper around this thing. We know that there are things that drive us. We know there are business reasons to do it. We know we need to do some prep data has to be in good shape, and we're coming to find out some people's inability to move forward with AI is because they haven't taken the time to curate and verify that the data they have is accurate and so forth. But either that, but the client conversation we've come back to, clients are pushing, that's one thing. But our ethical responsibility means we have to get the client to agree to our use of this stuff. So a new thing I'm seeing, and I was meeting with firm leadership in a firm in Chicago just recently, and their whole thing was, we understand our ethical responsibility to communicate with clients. It requires us to make sure they know and understand what we use and why. But there's a new elevated need to equip lawyers and law firm personnel to have that conversation in a way so they can understand, look, you can trust us because we have done this due diligence, and these tools that we're using will help us to provide the best client service. So the fear that is quite often present in our clients, we need to be able to address. Be the lawyer, be the counsel, be the one that says, listen, and it builds a level of trust. And this is what we're doing is transparency.
Absolutely.
Exactly. But also, they're going to say not only no, but heck no in some cases.
Yeah.
And others are going to say, yes, absolutely, please use it. And we're the ones saying no or heck no.
Yeah.
We've got to be able to have those conversations.
100%. Like the lawyers need to be fairly conversant on how are we using these tools and being able to verbalize that with their clients.
Yep.
And I also think that transparency, it's not just about being transparent with your clients. It's about being transparent with your employees as well that may have fear around, what's this going to do to my job? Am I going to have a job in a couple years? Like, is AI taken over? Are we going to downsize? Like, so thinking about the impact to your people, there's so many emotions that go along with this. And
well, that's an equipping.
It is an equipping.
So it's the responsibility of the firm to equip and empower and educate the users of that firm on what this is for them and how they can get on board to use it to make them better at what they do, and not to necessarily come in as, if you don't perform, I'm going to replace you with AI. That's the wrong message. It's not the accurate message either. We want to make sure we
absolutely. I mean, it's that firm overall vision, right? That business strategy. Why is the firm doing this? And we know as change management consultants, right? We're both ProSci certified, and we know the very first question is why? Why are we doing this? And they want to hear that from the top.
And what are we trying to achieve?
And then the very next level is, and what does that mean to me? What does that impact? And they want to hear that message from someone a little closer to the work, maybe their direct supervisor, right? Someone in that practice group leader. What does this mean to me? So, and then we equip them with the knowledge, and we make sure that they can use the tools at that point. So there's so much pre-work to be done.
Surprising thing that came out of the G100, G200. These are the top 100, top 200 firms globally. So big firms with the same issues and responsibilities. And I thought somehow the phrasing of change management has become kind of watered down, and it's used a lot. And they're coming back now saying, here's what we're realizing, particularly with the advent of all the changes being driven by the pace of change and AI, which is also forcing faster and faster change, is the desperate need for folks to elevate their skill set to understand that change management and a business acumen, what these things are doing, how they align with the business of the firm, is not only driving how IT professionals need to up their skill game to where soft skills are not called soft skills anymore. These are hard, absolutely required skills to be able to translate between what's going on and how it applies to the business of the firm. And so Jim McKenna had a great quote. He says, we've said for the last couple of years, you want to fail first. Failing is a part of the journey.
Fail first, fail fast.
Fail first, fail fast. Now he's saying fail spectacularly.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
We just need to get out there and get this done.
Well, it's that Thomas Edison moment, right? It's not that I failed 1,000 times. It's that I found 1,000 ways not to create a light bulb. It's that kind of a moment.
Exactly.
And that's where, in prompting, that iterative nature of prompting. that's the new skill set, right? Is how to have a conversation with this
thing
that's
going to take
called
over the
AI.
world and
I
kill us all.
know, I
It's not the
know.
case at all. It's just, there's so much out there. So I want to talk
Yeah.
about a couple other things that are going on at ILTA that I'm picking up. And we can't remove the AI component of each of these things.
Yeah.
But we're starting to see how it's so important. There are several sessions around this to develop people personally. So professional development is really important. Your personal well-being is really important.
Absolutely.
But also the need to focus on the fact that we all think very differently, respond very differently, and have different drivers, needs, expectations. So it really impacts the learning journey, which we're passionate about, because we have, in some cases, up to 6 generations in the workforce. So some really interesting discussions around, you've got those that are driven, their worldview is different based on how they were raised, the generations they were raised, the world events going on during that time, and how AI is either one of those things they are dependent upon. Connectivity is always there. Work ethic is impacted by that. Loyalty is impacted by that. Their adoption of technology is impacted by that. And it varies. The balance of life, the motivation, their engagement levels, all that varies based on, but these are all very important people in your organization.
Yeah.
Not only for the right now, but for the future. And if that's the case,
100%.
we have to focus on them. If that is the case, not everybody learns all things in the same way. So a real need for a multifaceted upgrade to people's learning journey, so that we're developing a culture of learning that meets the needs of everyone there. I've heard it come up in conversation time and time again, whether eloquently stated or just they're going, we're asking the questions, which we always do. What's the frustration? What are your challenges in learning? It's like, I can't get people to come to this, or these things aren't effective anymore, but yet we're stuck in doing them the same way. So there's a real drive to make sure we recognize and know that every individual, when you think about change, where does change happen? At the firm level? At the organizational level?
I think a lot of times it happens at that individual level.
Always happens at the individual level. Change is not organizational until it happens at the individual level. And it's the collective individuals that adopt a change that get the overall firm and or cultural change. So we have to focus on if we forget that person, particularly with the adoption of technology, then we're missing a key element of that. So every time we come in and consult around a change, a modification, an adoption of a technology, a migration from one to the other, or just implementing these technologies or professional development, all the stuff that we do, it is always with an eye towards that person. That's been reinforced in session after session this week, focusing on not only personal development, but how people feel about things. There's a real need for wellness, and that's been fun. There's the professional development stuff's been kind of fun, because they're saying, all right, you want to make it into the C-suite. What does that look like? You want to develop personally as a professional in this area. How can you drive that change in your own professional career? I love that there's a focus on that now, and that's a passion of ours as well. Well, all right. So we have, gosh, this is the 45th year. It's the largest ILTACON ever. Loads of fun. We've been here from the beginning when it was not called ILTA. Back when it was called many other things. I feel, what is your sense? I'm getting more of a sense of optimism about things rather than the profit disillusionment was a term from last year.
Oh,
was pervasive.
Okay.
They're going, because there is no clear path to return on investment with AI, and they were just, we're saying do this, but I don't see an end game.
I mean, let's talk about the ROI, right? What return on investment, what does that even mean? Because there's so many different facets that could be considered ROI. It's not just I can do it faster. And let's be honest, attorneys are not really excited about losing any billable hours, right? Mm-hmm. So, but that is one conversation, in that if I can do, I like to call it the things that suck, the things that I don't want to do in my day, the things that are the drudgery in my day and are a beat down. Those are the moments that we absolutely want to be using AI, the co-pilot. I need to write a client advisory, or maybe it's the things that you're writing off on bills, the things that you can't bill for. Those are the moments where if we can turn to AI, that then frees up our not only time to do things that are of more value, but also it means that we have more creativity at the end of the day. It means we're not working these long hours to get in all of that non-billable work that we have to do as well. You know, so there's the idea of, okay, the number of hours in a day and how can we be more proficient? But then there's the idea of, now that I have more time, I have the ability to do that extra review, go that extra mile, improve the quality of the work that I'm doing. So you've got time, you've got quality, and quality can be measured many different ways. And really, quality is in the eye of your clients. What does quality mean to them? And I would tap into that a little bit. But then there's also a third bucket, which is employee satisfaction, employee engagement, making sure your people aren't burned out, having them be proud that they work at an organization that has an eye for the future, and they're a modern firm, and they're rolling out these new tools and providing you with new education and opportunities. So there's all of these different facets, I think, that factor into the ROI equation that you really have to, because it's not just about time with AI.
It is not
at all.
And
It's about lightening the burden
if
and making your work feel lighter.
If your only argument for AI is efficiency, that's a failed argument. We'll stop as soon as it gets out the gate.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, you've touched on several things, and that is, and we've focused on several things, and that's the individuals in the firm. And if that's the case, if we're talking employee engagement and we're talking retention, another theme from this morning's G100, G200 is talent acquisition and talent retention, and how difficult that is. And if we're going to retain and maintain the talent that's been here forever, and we want them to stay, those we want to attract, and they're being pulled in a lot of different directions, there has to be a compelling reason for that. Forward-thinking firm, speaking into their life, really wanting to invest in who they are in ways that meet them where they are based on where they are generationally. The fact of the matter is, as a leader in IT, if that's the case, then we need to not only look at those that are going to take care of all the things that got us to today, but we need to take care of those people that are looking to and foster that vision for what's going to happen in the future and keep them there, keeps them engaged.
And you know, a lot of people are worried about their young lawyers, the new future lawyers coming in. And if AI is doing that young associate first year kind of work, what does that mean 20 years down the road for the firm, for bringing up those young lawyers from law school to being the future partners of the firm? If we're not seeding the future generation, we're doing a disservice, I think, to the organization, because eventually, right, we always need to be looking towards the future and having that longevity, that business continuity, that we're just seeding the future, and we're growing those new young lawyers to be the future partners of the firm.
Another trend that I love that we see that aligns with all of this is that technology is not just seen as another tool. It is now starting to equalize, as far as firm leadership is concerned, as being a part of the viability of the business of the firm and its
100%,
future.
100%.
So the going from the basement to the boardroom, that's been discussed many times, many ILTAs before. We're starting to see that now, with that seat at the table to be strategic thinkers in IT, and then training all of our IT folks to have that same mindset and develop them that way is a big thing. So let's.
And the thing that I love about AI, it's like you have a little mentor in your back pocket. So if there's a task that you've never done before, like all of a sudden you have a tool that you can go to and you can say, how do I do this? What does this mean? Like, you can get your own, it can be a trainer, it can be a mentor, right? That you have to learn and build those skills independently on your own, so you can take on those new tasks. And I think that's a powerful thing about AI. That's what I love about it.
It is. Now, with any, let's say you have a knife or a hammer or a thing. This was an analogy from the session, but that can be perceived as a weapon.
True.
It could be a tool.
It could be a tool. where you're building
so your
new things.
perspective
Yeah.
on these things is really important. And I will say there's also the reminder of several things that are still important and perhaps more so today acutely than before. Change management skills, business acumen, security, compliance, making sure we're ethically using these things, evaluating your data. There's a real need for all that. Security is really big when we're talking about that tool, because bad actors have this in their hands as well, and they are
Those
weaponized.
phishing emails are getting really
getting
good.
better.
They're getting really
But
good. They fixed all the
even
misspellings.
more than that.
Yeah.
So the need for a heightened amount of awareness and efforts, security protocols, and making
Yeah.
sure we're educating. The easiest way into an organization is through human behavior. So
Yeah.
we have to focus on that too. That came out really strongly. And so looking ahead, we had several sessions. It's been a good week.
You know, the videos, the voice,
Yep, voice cloning,
cloning,
video.
all of that. It is really making
We
it
can
tough.
I can be on a Teams
Yeah.
call and you're seeing me, and I will be saying, and it's not really me. So
Yeah,
we've got
it's
to
real tough.
get our verification process in place and
Yeah.
train our folks to not bypass them, even if it sounds like someone or looks like someone. We
Yeah.
still have to follow those rules. So that's still important. Security is one of those, it's kind of dry topics, but it is so important at the moment, as is information governance, so many things.
Mhm.
So it's been a fun week in a lot of ways. I see a lot of optimism. I see a lot of, a year from now, the AI discussion is just going to be normalized and part of what we do. And so much, this is I heard another thing about how lawyers and law firms should rethink. We can't the pace of change is a challenge.
Yeah.
The pace of change is starting to hurt people. They can't keep up with this stuff. Our people can't keep up with it. Change fatigue is a big part of the discussion.
I heard a new word, option fatigue.
Option fatigue. I have too many choices.
I have too many choices.
Too many choices.
This AI tool can do too much. I've got
much.
option fatigue.
But yet at the same time, we don't want to have all of the rings, but the analogy of having one ring to rule them all, the rings reference versus the Olympic rings, multiple, they interlap, and some that do some of the same things, but we're going to have multiple rings. There's no way to get around it if we're referring to rings as being AI solutions.
Yeah.
And that's just a part of it. And then you don't have to have all of them, but we're going to have more than one. There is no one magical solution. So it comes back to the business strategy, what matters to us, and putting things in place.
So you and I, we both look at the hallucination database. So if anyone doesn't know, there's a gentleman, Damien, I can't remember his last name. He has a hallucinations database where he is tracking all the instances where people have cited fake case law in their briefs and filed them with the court. I looked at it. I was attending a session the other day on prompting, and they threw out a number, it's about 160. So I hopped on the database. Can you guess what that number was?
168.
273. 273 that we're up to already. And what's interesting about this database is that it also is capturing how many are pro se plaintiffs, people representing themselves. And I think there's this false sense of security that people now think, well, I've got this AI tool that's going to do this legal research for me. And, hey, I can tell it to act like a lawyer and give me some case law. So I think there's some of that going on. But, these AI tools hallucinate, and we've got to be on top of that. And I love the quote. This is from a lawyer that did a session from Bloomberg a while back. If it's wrong to do it yourself, it's wrong to do it using AI. And we need to make sure that we are double checking, shepherdizing those cases, looking up all of those quotes. And what was scary is just recently, there was even a judge in their opinion that was citing fake case law. So we're really at that stage where it's impacting people.
So
that's a moment.
It cracks me up to think about a hallucination database. Is it real? All right. So this is a lot of fun. We're going to wrap this up. It's been a good year. It's always a good year. I will say this about the ILTA community. We're not competing against one another. We're trying to find out, how did you succeed here? What are your struggles? What are your failures? We
Yeah.
love these conversations. We want to be in these
Absolutely.
conversations. The fundamentals, this was kind of one of my takeaways.
Mhm.
The fundamentals of things that we know about have elevated now to being more true than ever. Focus on those individuals, make sure that they're doing well. Let's develop them professionally. Let's give them tools that align with things that really matter to them.
Yeah.
Equip them to do it and be
Equip them.
successful. And wow. So
And maybe it's an upskilling conversation where all of a sudden, yeah, you might have been in this role. Maybe you've worked for a firm for 20 years in this one role, but now all of a sudden we can upskill you, and with the help of the AI, be learning new and exciting things and breathing new life into your role, into your job. It's an exciting time.
So you're
again,
saying
you got
the
that
view of the
mentor in your back
future,
pocket.
your view of the future is optimistic.
Yeah, let's not get rid of
Positive.
people. Let's upskill people. I know. I'm a class half full kind of
Well,
girl.
there we go. I think so too. So folks can get really fearful about technology, and I'm going back to the same phrasing.
Yeah.
The pace of change is starting to hurt people. It's coming at them at a pace they can't keep up with it. AI can help with some of that.
Yeah.
Keeping an eye on your people but you can't necessarily plan in the fourth quarter we're going to do this. That's too far
Yeah.
away. So we have to be more nimble. We have to be more agile. We have to be ready to embrace these changes. And never forget
if
the people
you
involved.
learn one little thing every single day, learn one little new thing, think about how far you get in a year. I mean, all of a sudden, so I like to use kind of a drip method. I kind of call it the drip learning method, where I'm just going to learn a little bit and I'm going to tackle something new. Maybe it's each day, maybe it's each week, maybe it's each month, but I'm going to learn a little bit more.
Yep.
And by the end of the year, you know what? I'm doing pretty good at that.
That is
point.
right in line with
You don't have to water hose it.
What's the book? The Atomic Habits. You're going to improve by 1% every day, and by the end of it, it's considerably more than you ever started with.
%.
So
Micro-habits.
let's start taking those steps.
Yeah.
We are thrilled to be here with you
Yeah.
guys. It's been a lot of fun. It's always fun hanging out. And I love the fact that our focus is now more focused on the individuals in your firm now to help them be successful.
100%.
Because that's where change starts.
Yeah.
So our 3 E's, we start with empowering, and empowering starts with the individual. We want to empower an individual through learning and education. And ultimately, by doing so, we're elevating the entire organization, which I just love. Loads of fun. This is Kenny, Carolyn, traveling coaches at ILTACON 2025. Such a great time, and it's been a real privilege. Thank you very much.